Back, everyone, to OpenLine. Glad you're with us. We're talking about Washington, all that is going on. It's very busy up there this week. There is certainly a lot being debated. We have the infrastructure bill, a large spending bill, the debt ceiling, General Milley testifying about Afghanistan. So all of those things. Happy to have with us Dr. Thomas Schwartz, political science professor at Vanderbilt University, also a distinguished professor of history. And so I like to come at it from that angle as well. But let's go back to the phones here. Let's go to Rob. Hello, Rob.
Yes, sir.
Go right ahead. What's on your mind?
Hey, thank you for taking my call. There was a lady called in. I was listening to her. And, I think she said she's got a son that's got an issue or whatnot, and she can't get any help or didn't. It's not getting, I guess, help. I think what she's referring to maybe is she's not getting the help, and we've got all these foreigners, illegals coming in, and they're getting free housing, free health care, and all this, but your ones that paid taxes in here in the United States in the last 20, 30 years is kind of getting pooped on. But the billions of military equipment that was left over in Afghanistan, I'm dumbfounded by that. I was in the military, and if I lost my M16, I'm going to tell you, I'd been in a world of crap. Done my time in USMC, and I guarantee you I probably wouldn't be alive today because they probably hung me up in a tree. Just the last issue is how long, you got the historian here, I think how long was it that it took for Rome to fall, and why did they fall? If you can answer that question, I appreciate it. Thank y'all. Love everybody.
Oh, Rob, it's not a happy question.
No,
how long did it take Rome to fall? All right, that's he's frustrated about Afghanistan, frustrated about immigrants moving in. What do you? I guess take Rob's question however you want there. What do you think here?
Well, he makes a valid point. We left behind billions of dollars of equipment, and I think that obviously when you're talking about that, and you see needs in our own society, you think that's an extraordinary waste. And that, I think, is one of the reasons why Afghanistan has been so painful to many people, is the sense of a complete waste of money, resources, lives. And that's certainly there. I do think there is a strong current of thinking in the broad public that we're in a state of decline as a country. We've gone through this before, though. We've had periods where we thought we were in decline, and we've bounced out of it. So I'm not as pessimistic on that score. But what I hear him and what I hear in other people and see in public opinion polls is a sense that the country's in trouble and that we need to somehow right the ship.
And I like, again, to look at it from this historical perspective. You said now we're kind of moving out of being the police officer of the world. And I think that is born out of people feel like we've got our own problems here. We need to take care of things here. We can't be the police officer of the world. And there is a historical I guess, precedent for that, right? Right before World War II, there was that same thought. We were in the middle of a Great Depression. Economically, things were much worse then than they are now. But there seems to be this feeling now that we can't afford to be doing all of these things, and that we are struggling and even declining, I guess, as Rob was asking about Rome. So, again, to put in some historical perspective, how does this relate to those past times when we felt those ways?
Well, I think even the way you brought it up, I think what is interesting is, of course, what brings us out of these waves is a foreign attack. We don't live isolated from the world. In many respects, we're still vulnerable. And I think this was something, of course, that 9/11 brought home to Americans in a way that was quite profound, but an earlier generation thought that with Pearl Harbor. So although we may want to get away from the world may want to not let us get away. In that sense, we may still face challenges out there because we are a country with economic and familial and social ties all around the world, and we can't completely escape some of that. And even if we want to pull back and be not the world's policeman, we may find ourselves faced with it because of what the world does to us or does to our friends.
And when you look at immigration, which again came up in that last call, it's the result of incredible turmoil in other parts of the world.
Yes.
And I guess historically you could look at, Ireland. That's why, my question was, before I just thought of Ireland, has there been a time when there's been so much turmoil? Is this amount of turmoil that we see in the world, in Haiti and in Afghanistan and all these places where people want to come to the United States, is it unusual for us to see this kind of turmoil all around us, or is it kind of something we've seen throughout history?
Actually, I probably would be inclined to say it's actually traditional. I mean, the number of immigrants is actually relatively small compared historically. I mean, we took waves and waves of immigrants that came from a tumultuous Europe in the 19th century. In the 20th century, at various points, we cut off immigration in the period from about 1920 to 1924, 25 to 1965. We had very restrictive laws. We opened up again, and we've now had this tremendous both demographic and population change, a much more diverse racially, ethnically society. And I think we go back and forth on this. And right now we're in a period of time in which there's a great deal of angst about immigration and restriction. But still, lots of immigrants are coming. America still is a country of immigrants. And Americans may dislike the fact that some immigrants get a better deal, but we also welcome them. I mean, there was a story tonight on Channel 5 News about the welcoming of Afghan refugees here. There's still a strong attitude of welcoming to immigration.
And Afghan, that might be even a little different than Haiti, right? Didn't these Afghan refugees, they helped us fight a war? Right. Is that right? I mean, they helped us fight a war, so there might be some obligation to then turn around and not leave them there in a situation where they would be in grave danger.
That's right. I mean, that is a difference from, say, the Haitian immigration. But the Haitian immigration is also people who want a better life, and this is something a lot of Americans, even if they don't like maybe the manner of the immigration, they do respect that idea that immigrants have had made a tremendous contribution to the society. So I think Americans have a mixed attitude toward immigration right now, but there is a strong history of accepting immigration and basically assimilating people into our country.
Let's go to Melanie. Hello, Melanie. You may need to turn down your TV.
Okay.
Can you turn it down? And then what's on your mind? Tell us your comment or question.
Hi. Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am. Go right ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I have a concern, question, and comment. It seems like we've been having an enormous amount of illegal refugees coming over into the country en masse. What was it in 18, and it ended up being like 1.2 million. And we're in time of a COVID, and it seems like America should allow people to come over, but we're not a lawless country, and there is a right way of doing it. And it's like we're just rewarding people, because if we don't reward them, then we look like we're changing our lives. We're in a time where all I hear is inflation, and there's going to be shortages of supplies. And yet we're having thousands upon thousands that are coming in that are going to also need supplies.
Right.
And then this comes back to me to the infrastructure that they're trying to put through for more giveaway stuff. And it's almost like when you say that the Haitians are coming in because they want a better way of life. They're not really running from anything. We have calamities and catastrophes, but we've worked through them and we still live here. So if we are upping our social infrastructure to give, I had 4 children. I always had to pay for my babysitting before they started school. I don't understand now why people cannot go to their job if they don't have a free babysitter. Little things like that, I think we're taking too much care. This is a country of capitalism. When you work hard, you get ahead. And I think that we've gotten into so much charity and welfare that it does concern me, because a country can be toppled if you have too much going out and not enough coming in.
Okay.
So anyway, that was a lot. Thank you for listening.
All right, Melanie, thank you. We'll go to break after this, but yeah, her comments mean she's not going to be alone in that. I'm struck by, when I hear her speak, and I know she's, again, not alone, that she thinks immigrants are just pouring in at a rate they've never poured in before. Is that true, or unlike what we've seen in recent times? We certainly see on Fox News every night and in any newscast those immigrants down there at the border. I feel like some are being stopped, some are being let in. But are we accepting more immigrants than ever before? And is this a danger to our country and us economically? How do we put that into perspective?
Well, I think on sheer numbers, no. We're not necessarily accepting far more than we did in the past. I think, though, people do have a feeling, and it's partly because of course, the presence of cameras and being able to see it, that people shouldn't be able to just pour across, that you should go through legal procedures. I mean, in the past, of course, we had Ellis Island that sort of provided a restriction so that people would land there and then have to be screened and all the rest. I think that's part of this image, that we are being overwhelmed, or that there's so many people coming to the borders. I think the other concept that, namely, if you increase the amount of welfare you give people, if you do move in the way the $3.5 trillion expenditure is, that you provide so many more free things, you are going to attract more people. And that is something that I think she was expressing, a traditional American concern that we shouldn't do that this is a capitalist society. People should work for certain things, and that the government shouldn't make everything free. And that is, I think, part of the tension that's going on here, is that we have moved in a much more social welfare direction in the last few years, and particularly the pandemic accelerated some of that. And now the Democrats want to move much more completely toward a sort of European welfare state, and many Americans resist that.
And would you agree with that characterization, that if this 3.5 million were to pass, and I was very interested in what you said at the top of the show. You said it's the largest thing since Lyndon Johnson. Would it move us? How would we then compare to European countries? Does it put us there? Are we nowhere close? Where are we in relation to that?
We're not quite where the Europeans are, but it would certainly push the United States much more directly toward the type of European social welfare state, with free childcare, with free community college, with a lot of goods that currently have some sort of price tag attached to them, that would be subsidized. Now, we're still not there on healthcare. Even the expansion of Medicaid wouldn't bring us there yet, to the sort of level of, say, the National Health Service in Britain or the Canadian Health Service. But this would be a major push toward a type of European welfare state.
So this is a major debate that's going on right now. Fascinating. All right, we're going to take a break. We have some callers I think we'll have time to get to, so hold on. We'll take a break. We'll be back right after this.